another thing I wanted to ask about was, because you mentioned moving over to that managerial side and that personal management side, is there any way that you're still able to quantify the performance of your team, or is it just from what you feel from being that chain of communication? Can you feel when the team's doing well, or are there metrics that you can look to and point and say, this is how we're performing?
Well, I live, eat, sleep and breathe with the team. It's not like I just sort of fly in, come to sit on the pit wall, do my job and then go home again. It's my team. I care about each person in the team on a personal level. We're in such a high pressure situation. You have conversations with people that I don't think is your normal manager employee type relationship. It's really not. We work side by side. I don't tend to manage with a stick. I try to encourage everyone to, so the carrot, if you like. And of course, I've got to build an environment where I want to work. But otherwise, I don't want to come to work and feel uncomfortable that I'm not part of that team. So, you'll see me chatting to the guys from the guys sweeping the floor. Everybody is important in the team, and actually everyone's interesting. And people go through highs and lows over the course of a season, that problems in their personal life. You have to just try to find a way to help them through that and to still perform well when they're at work. And I think that's the side of the management side of the business anyway that I find the most fascinating.
And do you think that role of personal management, are you able to extend that to the drivers? Obviously, they're not really working for the team in the same way, but they kind of are. And to that relationship between the drivers and the culture that they're spreading, maybe if you have, you can talk about the Vettel and Webber years towards the end where it seemed like it did get a little bit frosty between them. Do you feel that can have a negative impact when the driver relationship is that kind of way? And now we've seen with Max and Sergio, it seems much more cohesive.
Well, they do work for the team.
Yeah, I've known, but it's
I think that's an important distinction to make. So nobody's bigger than the team.
Sure.
And the drivers understand that. I don't think I've ever worked with, well, maybe one. I've never really worked with a driver with such a massive ego that nothing mattered, because generally, by the time you've become a Formula One driver, you've worked with teams all the way up, and it's not all about you. You know that every single person there has a contribution to make towards the reliability and the performance of your car. And I work very closely with the drivers. Certainly all our interactions with the FIA, all of the stewards' inquiries, I work with the driver on that. It's really important to have a good professional relationship with the drivers in that respect. When I first worked in Formula One, drivers got killed reasonably often, and it was or injured, and it was very difficult to get close to them because you kind of didn't want to. You kind of always left a little bit of a gap. And wonderfully now, with the work the FIA and the teams have done together on safety, that's no longer an issue. And I work incredibly closely with the drivers. You have to, pit stop performance, the driving plays a big part in that. Plus, I try to help them, especially when they're younger and they're first into the business, try to help them find their way and offer them some, what I'd like to think is just some good, often impartial advice, and maybe help them through some of the situations they find themselves in and how to manage their way out of them. I've got 3 kids at home, and I've got a huge amount of Formula One experience, but I've also got experience in dealing with people, and drivers are people at the end of the day, and you've got to try to get the best out of them.